Okay, let's get going here. Good afternoon. Did everybody get a pretzel with all that sugar on top of it? Is it good? Great. Thanks for coming. We got a nice crowd. My name's Clay Snellings. I am a parent of 3 kids. Emily is my youngest who has CF. So I learned what CF was 21 years ago. I live in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm glad to be here. And we got a great crowd, as I said. So this is going to be a contest for all you competitive people in the world. I hope you picked a good table because that's the team. You're now on the team. Nobody move. Seriously, this is a great way for us to share great ideas, get creative, learn from each other. That would be the greatest outcome that we could have here in our hour together. So the format of this session, the title, first of all, is Get Out of the Box, New and Creative Fundraising Ideas to Energize Your Team. And this is not an event-specific conversation. We're going to hear from people involved with Great Strides or climb events or whatever it is, but just an opportunity for us to brainstorm on getting better at asking our friends and family and professional friends and family for money, which is great, to find a cure for CF. So with that, we have 3 presenters that are going to share their out-of-the-box way that they fundraise, and the lead off is Laura Gordon from the Maryland chapter. That'll be followed by, I'm third, I guess. Yes, Kristen Brockman from Southern California is going to speak to us next. And then I'll bring it home with my piece. Excuse me, I have 4. Sorry. Melissa Smith is going to bring it home. Also a Northern California, and I guess that's 2 different states, right? Southern and Northern California. And she's going to talk about her cool ideas. And then after that, that'll take about 30 minutes. We're going to break into groups at your table, and we're going to quickly introduce ourselves if you haven't done that already. Tell us a little bit about your connection and what you've done in the past. And then you've got these sheets on your table called Think Outside the Box, and we're going to come up with some new ideas of things we might try to do to be more effective in our fundraising. So, any questions? Okay, Laura, take it away.
Okay, hey, good afternoon, everybody. Nobody's starting to write down notes or anything and cheating and looking at other stuff, right? We're all focused, we're game on, it's 2:30, and we are like, boom, in, right? So I'm Laura Gordon. I'm from the Maryland chapter, proudly representing Maryland. Woo! And so happy to be here, and I'm really excited that it's not just a Great Strides breakout session, but it's for all of our peer-to-peer fundraising, because a lot of the ways that we go about fundraising for Hike or Cycle or any of those types of events, it's all kind of the same thing that has so much crossover. So, you know, we've all been sitting at our Great Strides or whatever committee meeting, and I'm thinking, how do we raise more money? You know, we've done the letter, and it's greatly successful, and people love it. We've done the video. Unfortunately, my once very cute blonde-haired 4-year-old boy is now an 18-year-old, and it's not quite as cute. I mean, it's still impactful, and he's, in my eyes, he's still my little boy, but not quite as impactful. So I'm kind of thinking, all right, what else can we do? What else can we do? And then I kind of had like a duh moment. You know, and what I mean by that is that when I thought of it, I said, why didn't I think of this 17 years ago? I've been writing my letter for 17 years, and we've been walking for 17 years. So I said, you know what? I'm going to get a corporate match, corporate sponsor, whatever you want to call it, for my Great Strides team. Why not? Right? We get tons of people at the walk. It's great visibility. We are social media blasters and all that kind of thing. And I know people that are going to want to help me out with this. So what I thought in my mind during the meeting was that my goal was month of May. So we have kind of a later walk. It's in June. And I said, if I got a corporate sponsor for every week in May, and my personal goal was I was going to try to get a $2,500 sponsor for the 4 weeks. Austin's birthday is in May, and he was graduating high school, and our walk is in June, and CF Awareness Month, and blah, 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 blah. It just seemed like the great opportunity. And what else was good about it is that was my goal. I think if somebody else was to embrace this and, maybe their team does $1,000, well, maybe you want to get a sponsor for $250 a week for 4 weeks, or however you want to do it. But the key part was, I just said to myself, there was people that already are invested in our cause. Some companies and corporate connections that may not be, we're not talking Fortune 500, we're not talking Verizon, AT&T, Comcast, or whatever. We're talking just, mom and pop shops and stores and perhaps a local car dealership that have been friends to our Great Strides team over the years. Maybe they would be willing to go just a little bit further. Maybe they want their dollars to be spent in a more efficient way where they could actually double their money and they could double their impact. So that's where that's where we started. And our goal was 10,000, and we actually hit a home run. I said, we were just trying to get on first base. We're just trying out this new idea. And we actually ended up getting a $20,000 match last year. So, woohoo! And I'm super happy to say that our Maryland chapter 20,000 match is happening again this year. And so I'm not going to let go of that. We're going to get it every year. Yeah. But I just really love the idea because I just think it's so easy to do. All you got to do is ask. We ask this question all the time. We've all been at fundraisers where it's super successful, at a dinner dance or a gala, when everyone's like, oh, hey, I'll match that. We've got a bid for a Cure match. So why not? Let's have a Great Strides match. Let's have a hike match. Let's whatever, and personalize it. So when the next question is that, on my little check sheet is, how did it affect our fundraising? Well, last year, for the first time, Team Feats broke 75,000. So it works. It worked. And aside from that, I was tried to be really good about Instagram. I'm not as young as I might appear. And so I'm trying to be really good about social media. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna be on this. Every time somebody makes a donation, I'm like, hey, thank you so much. We're so much closer to our match. Thank you to our matching company. I was sure to always recognize them and let people know, we just doubled your money. Your money just got doubled. Thank you so much. And it created a lot of buzz and enthusiasm amongst my donors and teams too, because the folks that have been with me for a long time were like, okay, well, I'm gonna make my usual donation, but it's gonna go even further. Or maybe I'm going to donate just a little bit more because now what was 100, I'm going to donate 200, and that's really 400. And so it created a lot of excitement, and I'm happy to share it with everybody else because, duh, right? So give me a duh. Duh. That was good. I went a little louder. Duh. All right, cool. So that is it. Does anybody have... It's such a duh thing, Does anybody have any questions on how you would go about it or, comments or anything?
What did you tell them it was in it for them as the donor corporate match giver?
So Clay just asked me what did I tell them was in it for as the corporate match giver. Well, I think that so many of these companies that want to make a difference and are already helping us out, they want to know that their dollar's going further, really. They want to know that they're inspiring other people. They want to know if there's growth within your team, if you're getting additional donors. So they definitely liked the updates. Hey, so, of our 20,000, we've already hit the $10,000 mark, or we've done this, and we've got a couple of new donors that have never reached out. So I think as far as what you can sell to those corporate companies is like, hey, thank you so much for all you've already done. Would you be willing to go just a little bit further, and here is why. And so make it it's your personal ask. It's not a scary thing. It's somebody that you already know. It's somebody that you've already been working with and somebody that's been helping you over the years. So it's easy. Give it a shot. We got some questions.
What was your personal connection to the donor? Like, was it a friend of yours? Did you just go blindly into a company? Like walk us through that.
So it was a friend, and he had mentioned to me in the winter at one point that he had kind of stepped away from CF, to be honest with you, a little bit. He did have a personal connection to CF, but he had stepped away, and he asked me about how his money could be most efficiently spent. And so I got back to him a couple of months later, and I said, hey, remember that question you asked me? And so that's how it was. But I also did talk to some other companies when I was just trying to get on first base, when I didn't know I had this home run. And the question was to people, like I said, that already supported us at maybe the $200 level. And I said, I'm asking you to step up. Would you be willing to do this? I would like to try this for the first year and see how it goes. And that would be my approach. Hey, I'm trying something for the first time. Will you help our team? You've helped us so far. You've helped us get to where we are. Would you help us go just a little bit further? Next.
Message the match.
How did I message the match?
How did you message the match to your team?
Okay, so we have
And for how long?
Okay, so we have a couple of different things. So I did like the idea of having a specific time frame because it was kind of a blitz. And you can't do a blitz for like 6 months. I mean, I'm a Navy person. I know that a blitz has to be like a burst. So the burst, I decided, was going to be a month. So we started it on May 1st, and we did end up going to our walk date, which is probably June 2nd or 3rd. And I think that approach worked really good for us. And like I said, I tried to do a lot of Instagram messaging. And so they were very excited to read the feed and see what was happening, but I don't think they were like very excited about it for a year. So for me, I think that short burst was the way to go.
One more, and then we got to keep moving.
We got one more question in the corner.
Hi there. I think it's a great idea.
Thank you.
We live in a small town, and you mentioned mom and pop shops. So I wouldn't envision, and maybe we'll hit a home run, but I wouldn't envision getting like a $10,000 match. What is your threshold? Do you think that it makes sense to do a match with? We might get a $100 donation from a few different places.
I think it's a personal thing. I think you ask a little bit higher than you think that they're comfortable going, because then they will probably drop it down. If you asked for $2,000, they're not going to say, well, I'll give you $2,500. So I would say a small town, it's hard to say. What does that person normally donate to your team? If they donate $200, maybe you're going to say $500. If they give you $500, maybe you're going to go to $1,000, and maybe they'll say, oh, well, we'll do $750 or something like that. And I do think my approach of having a couple go into it together. So you're like, hey, I also talked to such and such, and they're also going to do this. They think it's a great idea. They're on board. And at the walk, we're going to share your information, and we'll let everybody know throughout our team how great and supportive you've been, and that you've been a partner with us as far as this match. Super. So great. Thank you, everybody.
There she is. I was looking for Kristen. You got a mic? You want this one? There you go.
Hi, guys. I have to follow super energetic Laura at 2:30 in the middle of the day. My name's Kristen Brockman. I'm a member of the Los Angeles chapter. Yes. I am the chair of the LACF Climb at the Rose Bowl, and I'm also the host of the Breaking Through podcast for the Tomorrow's Leaders, available on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, and anywhere podcasts are found. I have to say that literally every time. So subscribe, rate, and give us a thumbs up. I do a passion fundraiser for the climb, and I've actually been doing this for a little over a year. And my passion fundraiser is called the Bucket List. It has nothing to do with physical fitness. It has nothing to do with the climb whatsoever. It's just a way I wanted to fundraise money, and because I do the climb every year, that's where I chose to put it. And it's just another way to raise money for your event that doesn't have to necessarily be, especially for endurance events, doesn't have to be a fitness event. So this is more of a storytelling fundraiser, and I will tell you my story. My little sister Kelsey had cystic fibrosis, and she passed away in 2016. And she had always told me before she died that if she died, she would... Sorry, this is sometimes hard to talk about. If she passed away, she was leaving a list of instructions for when she died. So this would be what she wanted to wear in her casket, what she wanted on her gravestone, what songs she wanted played. So as soon as she passed away, of course, we immediately went looking for these. And, it was very, very important for us to honor her unique wishes. But while I was looking for this very important list, I found another very important list that I didn't know I would stumble upon. And it was a list called the Unbucket List. And a lot of the things on the list were things I knew she wanted to do for sure, because I Googled unbucket list. Like, did she get this from somewhere? What is an unbucket list? And it's a lot of people saying, these are things I never want to do in my lifetime. I never want to get a tattoo. I never want to do this. I think for my sister, these were things she truly never thought she would do. So I did one of the first things on the list. It was the Biltmore Estate in North Carolina. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that. Anybody? Famous Biltmore Estate? Yeah. I live on the West Coast now, but I'm from Kentucky, and a lot of people on the West Coast are like, what's the Biltmore Estate? And I went by myself because I was going to be nearby, and I posted a photo with the story, and I got such a great reaction from just the one photo and a couple of paragraphs of me telling my story that I decided I would finish the whole list. And I thought this would be a good way to raise awareness because people clearly like the story. Well, then I thought if I'm going to raise awareness, I might as well raise money while I'm doing it, right? So I've been working on this for a while because a lot of the things on the list are trips and vacations. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie 5 Feet Apart, but there's a clip in there where she's actually talking about what's on her bucket list, and Stella asks Will, what's on yours? And there's a line where he says, I'd love to travel the world and see something besides the inside of these hospitals. So that really held true for my sister, so I have to take a lot of trips, which is great, but it just takes a while to get done. Anyways, I'm up to about $40,000 right now, and my goal is $100,000. Thank you. My goal is $100,000 total, however long that takes, and I will complete the number one item, which is skydiving, which I absolutely do not want to do, and that's why the goal is so high, because I will not jump out of a plane for anything less than $100,000. Thank you, Kelsey. Some of the elements I've used to get my story out there, and I know a lot of you might be thinking, well, how can I do this? Like, I don't have a bucket list to finish, or I don't, just really focus on the storytelling, because this all started from me posting one photo and people being so engaged. So think about what you can do that can involve storytelling, and as with any time trying to raise money, pull the heartstrings. So to share my story, I created a website, you can see right here, theunbucketlist.com, if you feel like going. I did social media, I have an Instagram, Facebook. I created a promotional video. I shot it myself in my living room. I bought one of those ring lights on Instagram that all the millennials use for their selfies and their videos and the makeup bloggers. And I shot it in my living room, and I edited it on iMovie. And I asked anyone I know that has an Instagram or a Facebook or whatever, whether they have 10,000 followers or they have 10 followers, will you post this for me? Would you mind sharing this for me? Here's what you can say. Here's exactly what you can say, so I made it easy on them. And that was a really big, crucial element of me getting attention on the story. And then the biggest element, which will continue even further down the road, is using media. So I actually modeled this after a story where a guy rode on his bike all the way to Louisiana to stop and hear his daughter's heartbeat in the recipient of the heartbeat. I'm sure it was everywhere. So I Googled that story and what outlets posted this story? How did this story get out here? Who's interested in stories like this, these human interest stories? So I haven't pushed it too much yet because people want to see pictures of me doing the things and videos of me. And again, this has been a slow process. So I started very slowly, and I'm just now starting to really push the media out. Like, for example, when I went to Hug the Sloth, that was in Chicago, not Peru, not Costa Rica, I was in Chicago. But just reaching out to Chicago news sources who might be interested in my human interest story. So again, if you're telling a story, it may not be like mine, you may not be traveling, but think of who would be interested in this story. You might have a person in your life who has CF, and they love donuts, and you're doing a donut fundraiser, or something related to that, and there might be a blog out there literally on donuts, or Instagram lovers. I joined a sloth group on Facebook that had it had 75,000 members, and I posted my video of me hugging the sloth, and I got so much attention, followers, donations. So just sometimes you got to think literally outside the box. That's what we're doing here, and it works. How has this increased fundraising? Well, I was the highest individual fundraiser in the nation for the climb. So it works. And again, I just want to stress, just because you're doing a climb or a walk or a hike or a cycle, it doesn't always have to be, and these are great events, but it doesn't always have to necessarily be a spin donation class for the cycle event, or you know, it doesn't always have to be a fitness event. Again, this is a journey, this is a story, this is something with progression that isn't a one-off. It takes time. Maybe you don't have time to do a year like I'm doing, but people are interested in your stories. And think of the person you're walking for. Think of the person you're climbing for. Think of the person, whether they're here or they're no longer here. What did that person like? What were their hobbies? What were their interests? Maybe they had exactly something like this. Maybe there was something they wanted to do in their lifetime, not a whole list that they never got to do, that you could do and fundraise for. If they are a person who's here and fighting this battle every day, what's something you want to make sure you see them do in their lifetime that you could fundraise to do? And it doesn't have to be jumping out of a plane. It could be something so small. People just want to see the story, even if it's something simple. So think outside the box and raise a bunch of money. Thank you.
Any questions for Kristen before we move on? Thank you. You did a great job. Okay, so next we're going to talk about Insure the Cure, which is an event tied to Great Strides in Georgia that was started in 2011. And by like many great things, it started by accident. Chubb Insurance Company. Well, first of all, I'm in the insurance industry. I have a company called Snelling's Walters Insurance, which was founded back in the 50s by my dad. And we are your typical local Atlanta-based insurance agent that sells business insurance and car insurance and employee benefit plans and all that stuff. And so we have several thousand customers. We have 60 employees. We sell for 60 or 70 insurance companies, so they're our suppliers. And then we have many competitors in our marketplace who do the same thing that we do, which number in the several hundred. And we have trade associations that we are all members of. For us, the biggest one is what we call the Big I, which is the Independent Insurance Agents. And they have a chapter in Georgia, and they have chapters in all of your states. And they are a national, basically, industry organization, which we have been very active members of. So how Insure the Cure started by accident was Chubb was involved in Great Strides in Dallas and Los Angeles, and they, guys in Dallas and Los Angeles, encouraged the Atlanta branch of Chubb to participate in Great Strides. And in 2011, I was scheduled to go to a Chubb agent meeting, and I had to call my host about a week before the event and said, Scott, I can't come to your agent meeting. And it was at the Breakers in Palm Beach, so I was kind of looking forward to going. And I said, my daughter has this rare disease called cystic fibrosis, and she needs to go in the hospital for a tune-up treatment. I said, don't worry, it's not immediately life-threatening, but I just don't need to go out of town. Scott had no idea that my family was engaged in this battle, and he said, Clay, what you didn't know is that Chubb was going to participate in the Great Strides Walk in Atlanta for the first time, and we thought it would be really fun to partner with one of our agents that sells for us and do this together. So that's how Insure the Cure started. I said, sure, that'd be great. I had a little bit of a guilt complex that I hadn't been doing more for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. Emily's 21. I've been a CF dad since 1997. And so that's how it started. We went down to the Great Strides Walk. We ragtagged together, asked some friends and family for money, had a great day, got reacquainted with many of the folks from the CF Foundation office, and they said, hey, we want you to come back next year. You know, we look forward to seeing you again. It was a great time. So roll forward over the last 9 years, what we decided to do was to make cystic fibrosis the cause that our business was going to support. My partners, I have 3 business partners, and they said, Clay, this is a great cause. It's helping that underdog. We are making progress. Our money is going to good use. Let's make this the thing. And after a couple of years of that, we said, let's not make this the Snelling's Walters thing. That's the name of my insurance agency. Let's make this an industry thing. And so we created a new tagline called Insure the Cure, Atlanta's insurance industry uniting for CF. And so we did a letter writing campaign in year 3, and we asked some of our biggest suppliers, hey, will you support us? Hartford, Travelers, Liberty Mutual, you know the company names. And they wrote us checks. And of course, our fundraising increased. And then in the future years, we were like, well, why wouldn't they want to come and walk with us? And so we said, hey, instead of writing us, well, we'd still love your money, write us a check, but why don't you allow us to educate interested people in your company to come and walk with us? And so the faces you see, all the light blue T-shirts in the slide, there's 400 folks from the insurance industry that show up every year at the Great Strides Walk in Atlanta, all wearing Insure the Cure T-shirts, and all of the company logos are on the back. And there's 50 of them. And it is awesome. And the reason that it works is because you have a champion, that's me, and then we developed a leadership team of some of our best companies that support us and said, hey guys, will you be on an advisory board with me to help us continue to spread the word for this, and let's make it bigger and better every year. And they were, of course, willing to help. And so we just created this network. And the CF Foundation office has been so supportive of us because they help us get organized. They help us with our prospect list. And, hey, we need to follow up with these companies or these people, or they gave money last year, but we haven't heard from them this year, all those kinds of things to help us keep the momentum moving so we're touching these people and asking them to continue to support us. But the kickoff meeting, I think, is the key that I think really is most powerful, I think, to help these companies get involved. Is so we say, hey, let's bring in pizza lunch, meet in the conference room or the break room, and I'll have 20 or 25, 20 or 30 or 40 people show up, and I'll do this. I'll tell the story. What is CF? You've all done it, right? I'm preaching to the choir here. You tell your compelling story about why the 800 people in our state, the 30,000 in the United States, the 70,000 worldwide who are on their own most of the time. And when we show up and show them that we care about them, it makes a huge impact. The other really cool thing that I want to share as a great idea, and this was Molly's idea, was to get a mission squad together of families who have kids with CF in Georgia and pre-write thank you notes with pictures of the kids and send them to these teams in advance of our kickoff. And so they've already heard from the families as to how grateful they are that they're participating. So that happens. It gives them a personal connection with somebody with the disease. Of course, videos and all that kind of stuff works very well as also. But the neat thing about it in the industry is when you go to a trade association meeting where there's a bunch of gatherings of agents and companies together and people start saying Insure the Cure like it's a real thing, it is amazing. I mean, because they know the brand. It has its own brand, and that is super powerful. So my encouragement to this group is I don't care what business is in. This is not unique to insurance. And it's any place where you feel you have influence in your profession or your work, where you can bring those around you who love you and respect you, who want to help you, and see if you can rebrand it so it's about that great business that you're in. It could be the car dealers or the hardware store owners or whatever. So just the stats, our successes, we raise about $350,000 a year through Insure the Cure. And we're very proud that since 2011, we've raised $1.8 million for the CF Foundation. So we're going to have time to collaborate. Any quick questions before I turn it over to our crafty one, Melissa?
That's a very quick one.
Yes, Laura.
So, Clay, I would love to do something like this in Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
So what would be the tips that you would give us if we were starting out? Like, maybe for us it would be the Power Company, Power the Cure, or banking on the cure, something like that. What would be your key first couple of steps, back to year one? That
personal connection of someone who's willing to stand up and be the figurehead. Pam and John Baker are the figurehead for Shamrocking. You're the figurehead for your company match thing. It just takes somebody in whatever industry you decide on to try to be that champion. We've got some handouts that we're going to send around after this is over, right, by email, so that you can see what our 2 PDF files are that we use to promote the teams to new teams. We have a corporate sponsors option ranging from $500 to $10,000 where we give different levels of recognition for their support of Insure the Cure. And also a 2-pager that basically tells our story, gives them 3 options to get involved, which is form a team, be a corporate sponsor, or make a donation. We don't care which one it is. We want you to do all 3, all that kind of thing. So we're happy to share that. I am happy to come and talk to any of your chapters who want to explore this further. One of our really kind of BHAG visions for this is that Insure the Cure would be in many cities. We have it running right now in Kansas City, New York, Nashville, and Atlanta, but I'd love to see it be a national thing. And all we need is a champion in the insurance business, and we can help put wheels on it. Does that answer your question?
That's great, thank you.
Yes, sir.
So in my community, one of the biggest things that we get pushback on is we have a very philanthropic group that raises millions and millions and millions for Relay for Life.
Relay for Life?
And
okay.
we come to great strides, and we're looking for a donation. They say, you know what, we already spent all of our money for that. And then they make the comparison. They go, well, there's a lot of people with cancer, and there's not as many with CF. So how do you broach that topic with people?
It's a great question. How do you get in line with all the other great causes? And my answer to that is yes. I want you to support anything and everything that you're passionate about. But let me tell you why I'm passionate about this. And again, these folks need the help. They are on their own most of the time. And the best story, and they talked about it so much this morning, was the progress that we've made in Emily's lifetime from 1997 to today, and CFTR story, and all those things that we're doing. To me, is just like your match example. You want to double your money. You want to double down on a disease that is not only helping the lives of those impacted by this disease, but the amazing research and development that's going on in gene editing and all the other stuff that's going to help a bunch of diseases. That's why our story is different. So that'd be my answer to that. Yes, ma'am.
How do they fundraise? Do you use the chapter sponsorship guide? Do they have kickoffs? Do they compete against each other and try to raise the most money?
Thank you. Very good question. So on the web, we set up a national corporate team called Insure the Cure, and then each company that wants to participate has their own team page. And then we encourage everybody in that company to sign up as a walker so we can have a results board amongst the Insure the Cure family for those who are competitive to see who can raise the most money. And so that's how we do that. And then the kickoffs is really the key. And so many of these companies have now been doing this for 7 or 8 years. Sometimes they'll say, well, we think we got it. Let's just get the people involved. I still want to go talk to them because I want to talk about the new stuff that's going on, and to give them an update on my child and the other kids who are ambassadors. So we have lots of families that will go with us to kickoffs, and they're great at telling their stories, and depending on the age of the person with CF, they'll speak for themselves, or their moms or dads will speak for them. Great question. Okay, we got to keep rolling because we want to hear from our craft expert, Melissa.
Thank you. So my name is Melissa Smith, and I have 2 boys. My oldest, Logan, is 6 years old with CF, and I would say we're a relatively new kid on the block in passion fundraising. And so I was honored to be asked to come and talk about what we've done, and we've turned something that we already like to do, that we do often, which is crafting. So I'm a Pinterest mama generation, and everything we find and do is inspired by friends or Pinterest. And so my mother-in-law, who is particularly crafty, who unfortunately passed this year, was a huge inspiration. She grew up making my husband's everything. And Logan is particularly crafty. So I thought, I need to reach beyond my Great Strides team. We've been doing this for a few years, and it's been great, but how do I ask for more? And I don't like asking for money, like most people. So we decided, why don't we just host this crafting thing? We'll charge people to come. They can make something and take that home. So there's my boys. Logan is the oldest, and then there's Aaron. And so we started this. We've done 2 crafting for the cures this past year. And I, from a background of event planning, knew logistically what I needed, but there was this component of how do I reach beyond our inner circle, who've been very supportive. And the idea was, hey, come for a couple hours. We'll have some appetizers, some drinks. You'll make something. You'll take it home. It's great. And it took off. We have had 2 full packed rooms. I made it strategic that it really needs to be small, so 30 people. And while it's not thousands and thousands of dollars, it's 30 people that are invested and are reaching beyond our inner circle that then reach out to great strides, and it just kind of follows this. And so my goal is to hopefully inspire some of you in the room or at home to take something that you already do, already love, turn it into a passion fundraiser. We used the passion fundraiser site. We also created a Facebook page and to advertise. So each person paid their admittance. We had some ideas. The first one, I already picked 2 different crafts. I made sure to pick one that was basic. Someone who could walk in who'd never picked up a paintbrush or never picked up anything and said, all right, I'm coming because my friend dragged me to this. I'm really here for the wine, but that's it. And we've seen a lot of those paint nights in our community and the make and takes. And so this is really the make and take that makes funds that go directly to our Great Strides page. And then I'd pick another project that had a little more skill to it, that challenged people. But with both of the crafts, I made sure that I had, made it in advance. I used that as my advertising tool. And that I had all the instructions and supplies. So they walked in, they got to make something, they took it home. And the first one was great. We got good response. The second one, I decided, it's fall. There's a lot of stuff going on. I needed to drum up more support. So I made a poll on Facebook and said, hey, I'm looking at these 4 different crafts. Who wants to make this? We got a lot of feedback from that, and that helped, again, advertise. So this was our fall event. We had made, it was wood-oriented, and so we had 2 different signs that worked for fall or, whatever craft you wanted. And people started making things on their own. They started advertising, so we're going to have another one here in the spring, and it really works out. So it's 2 to 3 hours. I got all the materials either there in my closet. Don't tell my husband. We go to garage sales and estate sales. We ask our community, say, hey, we're making this project and I need more construction paper. I need more wood. Someone was taking down their fence and we got all the wood for free. So the overhead is really low. One of our super supportive teammates lives in a newer complex that had a community room, and they were able to donate the space for us, which was really wonderful. They helped sponsor us. And so we did a potluck. Who doesn't want to bring something and and so we made this a really community-centered event. I thought it was particularly important that during the event, we had slides of our team, Love for Logan, and so showed that, yes, you are coming to have fun, but there really is a core mission to this, and shared our story because we were reaching now people that didn't know what CF was. They don't know our story, which is lovely. So we were able to share that, and that has, again, I'm still getting emails saying, let me know when that next crafting thing is. So I think we're doing something right. I am happy to share how I built this, and my hope is it can be replicated in other cities. We're going to keep doing this because it's fun, and I know it's going to a good cause. How it affected our team, we raised the most that we have in the 5 years, and it did definitely help reach our goal. For our team, we raised almost $9,000, which not bad. So it can be done. And then one last thing, because this was crafting, I had a lot of supplies left over at the end of the year, and I was like, oh no, what am I going to do with all this stuff? And so I started turning them into things and selling them at craft sales. It was around Christmas time. Other friends came. They came together again to help me finished building. We had all these different materials. Another great friend came with me to the craft sale and helped sell the stuff. And another way to help bring funds in that it then went back to our Great Strides team. So I think that this can really grow and continue to take legs. So with that, any questions? To come. Okay, so I started out at $35, which is really affordable, and I would like to see it get up to $65 for obvious reasons, but I think we're going to get there, and I really did. I advertised on Facebook. I emailed all of our Great Strides donors. I went to like Nextdoor apps. I went and posted at Starbucks, at Joann's, Michael's, all of those, normal crafty people places. And so that's how it kind of started to gain some legs. So, but 35 is good. Yeah, question, Clay.
Did you have a session where you were educating the crafty people on CF and give them a chance to give
Great question, Clay. So, yes. As I learned very quickly that I needed to have a few key people that knew what CF was and could kind of weave it into the conversation. And so we had kind of team leads at each of the tables because there's only 30, so you could have those intimate conversations. And it would be like, oh, look at that photo on the screen of the walk, and whose boy is that? He's pretty cute. I mean, he is pretty cute. So, it started to kind of develop, and it was like, oh, what's that mask thing? What's that vest? And so it started these more intimate conversations that then, I see them following me on social media now, and I see that this is going to start to grow. And so that was important. I also had made a few videos through the years, and I was sure to show that, because that had some facts and some things about Logan. So really good question. Any?
Thank you. Congratulations on your success. I think it's an awesome idea. Do you do anything besides the putting together crafts? You mentioned wine. So are you serving food or wine, or does that kind of just add to the overhead that might not be very profitable?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we have the option to do wine. I should clarify. The wine part was at our house when we did the end of the year gathering of supplies. The facility that we're at, we could do wine, but it's a little more legwork to do that. And so what I did provided appetizers, really. That was easy. Other people were like, hey, I want to bring something. So we kind of made it potluck. I repurposed some of the Old Men shirts into aprons, so I made those. And actually, people wanted to buy them, so I ended up selling them. And then it's hard to tell which I got some extra Great Stride shirts that were going to just old, and I'm turning those into aprons. So it really has a branded feel to say what we stand for, and they may not know it when they walk in the door, but when they leave, they will know what CF is. They will fundraise and help us, and they'll come back. So I think that's important. The one last thing I did, too, is I left them with a set of instructions so that when they did leave, if they hadn't finished their project or wanted to recreate it, they leave with those set of instructions.
Melissa, this is a really cool idea. I love
Thank
it.
you.
Question, are you the only one hosting these Crafting for a Cure parties, or are your teammates also hosting and reaching out to their extended network? Second thing, if you need more shirts at the end, have them email me. We'll send you some from Metro DC.
Woohoo! Thank you. So no, right now I'm the only one, although I do have very supportive family and friends, and they're helping me advertise for it, but I'm doing the legwork. So I'm, as Clay would say, the champion for this and getting it running. I would love if other people in the other, our region or wherever wants to do this. I'm happy to pass on the project instructions, whatever that makes sense. If they want to replicate this, hey, let's do it. Let's stronger together, right?
One more question, we're going to get to your creativity. Yeah. Go ahead.
I think maybe I've been watching too much Shark Tank, but I'm like, this is a great idea. I don't think you could make a box of all the craft supplies and send them across the country, and then like you were saying, everybody could host their own Crafting for a Cure. You know
You're wonderful. Yeah, no, okay. So, yes, the question was, can I just package this and like sell it as an event? And, you know, that's like that 2 a.m. voice in your head that's like, oh, yeah, you can do that. Yeah. So you're speaking my love language, lady. You know, we could talk. It's definitely something. And that's why I was honored to come here today, because I really do think that this could be easily replicated. And yes, you're raising a significant amount of money. It's not a huge event. It's not a huge impact. You know, it takes a little bit of setup, but it's really not that big. And it's something that I already do and love to do, so it's not like a burden. And so if you pick something, it may not be crafting, it may be gardening, it may be, I don't know, whatever you like to do. Cigar smoking for the cure, I don't know, wine tasting for the cure, all of this. There are many options, but I'm just saying something very small that your group, your family likes to do can be replicated and benefited to you. So, you know.
Thank you, Melissa. That was great. Okay, so now this is the competitive part. So quickly get to know each other at your table so we can all connect on our connection to CF. And then use the Think Outside the Box forms on your table to brainstorm about ideas that you think might work inside of your group. And then we're going to go around and have some sharing of those greatly newly formed ideas. It is 3:15, and I'm going to give you 8 minutes to come up with some ideas, and then we're going to share those ideas in about 8 minutes. Okay, let's wrap that up. We have time for 4 groups to share an idea that came out of their roundtable discussion. So Laura's dying to give one, so we'll give her one. Who else has an idea they want to share? Come on, don't be shy. Anyone? Bueller? Here's one here. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, great. And I'm going to go first because I have the microphone. So we built on the insurance industry ideas at our table. And my colleagues from Mississippi and Louisiana said, oh, yeah, I've got a guy who works for State Farm and this and that. What I heard, and I want somebody to, I'm going to verify this myself, but Allstate Insurance Company, who is what we call a direct writer in our industry, so Allstate agents just sell for Allstate, where I sell for a bunch of companies. They had, in Mississippi, a CF friend donates 3 hours of community service, and he does it by cooking chicken wings for your golf tournament. And you document that he was there for at least 3 hours, and Allstate gives $1,000. That's pretty cool. Anybody else ever heard of that? You got some other folks that have heard of that. That's great. This is on Microsoft?
Yeah. So I used to work at Microsoft, and we got so many hours every year for volunteer time off, which is actually what I'm doing today. But they also, if you were volunteering for a 501c3, that they paid an hourly rate to have you there. I think at the time it was like $20, $40 an hour or something like that.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, Laura, you ready?
Yeah, it's not really going to be me. It's Susie Ryder from the Iowa chapter and her awesome idea.
All right.
Okay, so this is an event that my team, Andrew's Angels, started about 8 years ago, and we haven't done it for a few years, but it's called Locks Be Gone. A friend of mine came up to me, and she said that if she raised $10,000, she would shave all her hair off. And so she met that goal, and she did it. And since then, we had 2 other people do that. But we haven't done it for a while, and I've been thinking about it for years, like, okay, my friends are doing it, but me, mama, isn't doing it. And so I finally announced last week that I will shave all my hair off if Andrew's Angels raises $50,000 by the end of this year. So I'm very scared because I'm vain enough that I love my hair. But we've done this in the past, and just to let you know how it worked, so obviously they had friends and they were asking for donations, and I advertised it like crazy, letting it know through social media, our letter writing campaign. I mean, we pushed it. We held the event at a country bar, And the night of the event, my friend Matt, his hair was very, very long. And so I have a friend who is a hairdresser. She was able to then put the hair in ponytails and save that hair. And so it was a dual purpose because then we donated the hair for cancer research and purposes like that. The night of the event, though, even though they've raised the $10,000 already, we had people at the event bid. Highest bidder got to be the first one to do the first shave. And then it went down from there. So then the next highest bidder did the second shave and so forth. So
that's
anyhow,
clever.
Go for it. Locks Be Gone.
What's your, it's called Locks Be Gone.
Locks Be Gone, Andrew's Angels.
I love it. Who wants to speak for y'all's group?
Hey, Clay, can I say one more thing?
Please.
We had another great idea. I'm going to be very quick at our table. But Wendy here from the San Diego chapter was saying that she does like a companion event. So if there's like a golf tournament, she tries to do something that's for the girls or for the women. And so I was thinking, okay, the crafting event, let's go see the Final Four guys or, watch a game or something like that. So maybe if there's an event that you already have going on that's geared towards one sex, you would kind of do something at the same time, but towards the other half of that team. So that was an awesome idea, too.
Very cool idea. Okay. I'm in. Oh. Okay, that's it. If you want to really donate to her team, I'm gonna make a list up here. Okay, thank you.
You guys, you're wonderful. I know. Andra's Angels. You can find us on Facebook. It's Andra's Angels Fighting to Cure CF. Or you can find me, Susie Ryder, R-I-D-E-R. I love you all. Thank you. Yeah, I love you and I hate you.
Okay, go.
Okay, so one of the things our table came up with, because I was inspired by Sharon's tattoos over there. I have a childhood friend who's a tattoo artist, and I never thought of this. I just looked across and thought, oh, this could be an idea. He's tattooed my son's name on me, my CFR's name, which I never thought I'd get tattoos on my arm, you guys, because I work in a professional environment. But you know what? I did, and I'm still the same person. So I thought, what about Tattoo for a Cure? If I can get Andy to close down his shop maybe for a day and giving him gratitude and more business, we can, have a handful of tattoos, whether it's for ALS, for breast cancer, any disease, obviously focusing on CF and other diseases. We can work up some art because I'm not artistic, but I can come up with ideas and all the donations, hopefully 100%, because I am a little greedy and business mindset. So 100% of the donations would go right to the foundation. So that's something we came up with.
Tattoos for a Cure.
Tattoos for a Cure. And then Hema, I love you. You're going to get up and say yours. She has one too.
All right, so the locks of the hair. Guys, what about the beards? So off with the beards for a cure is what I said.
Very good.
And my inspiration is my son, who is 29, has CF, has a very long beard. I can't get him to take it off, so.
That is funny. I had one more volunteer. Natalie.
Hi, everyone. I'm Natalie from the Georgia chapter. Our table had a bunch of wonderful ideas, but I think one of the key takeaways is you don't have to add a bunch of stress. You can capitalize on things you're already doing. Two of our Atlanta girls are hiking an extreme hike in Grand Canyon, and so it requires a lot of training, and what they are planning on doing is kind of orchestrating a training hike locally and getting their friends involved and charging a flat rate. They'll help with snacks and transportation. So it's knocking out two birds with one stone and helping them for that hike. And another thing that I personally did last year for a fundraiser is we live in the South. Football is huge. And so we just hosted a tailgate. We host that anyway. It was not difficult to get a keg and some hot dogs donated. And we ended up maxing the house out. My landlord was not thrilled, but other than that, it went really well, and it was a lot of fun. So don't get, you don't have to go crazy, like things you're already doing. Just capitalize on it. Your friends and family want to support you.
Natalie, thank you. Just to piggyback on the redneck stuff in the South, one of our Nashville insurance agency partners does a cornhole tournament up at their offices for Insure the Cure up in Nashville, and they raise a ton of money. So thank you so much for the creativity. Here's what's going to happen next. Your chapter executives, your chapter staff are going to get the handouts that each of our presenters may use to help their program, so you can borrow those resources. And feel free, of course, we're all here together for another 24 hours or so. Let's share ideas, and we're going to be much more effective through that sharing. Thank you to our speakers, Melissa and Laura and Kristen. Y'all did awesome, and thanks for coming.